Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Baruti Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Baruti Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to week 270 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in early this morning. We got Mona Obermolak in the building down in Orlando, Florida. We got Constance Sherrod in Pearl, Mississippi. Yolanda McKinney is checking in from Texas. Michael Benton is checking in from Cincinnati, Ohio, happily retired after 34 years of service. That's a lot of years, y'all. I bet you there's some people on this thread that haven't even been alive 34 years. So that's a lot of service. Good stuff, sir. Congratulations. Kudos. Tip my hat. We got Takesha High in the building from Virginia. We got Dr. Rachel Edowekit checking in. Just finished doing a monster address at the Model Schools Conference. I wasn't there, but I saw a little video footage. You said I know your ASCD will be. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be flying there right after I check out of here today, out of the session here. Appreciate that. Rodney Richardson, Hampton, Virginia. Robin Snowden, Harambe, Fresno, California. Leadership Conference is 16 days away. I'm looking forward to you being there. I'm looking forward to the 2-day institute. We'll talk more about that. We're going to have a good time. Leslie Akintunde is in the building, Northern Virginia. Grace Castaneda, Austin, Texas. Dr. Rella Hicks is down in Augusta, GA. Marsha Poe, San Diego, California, but she's in Boston. That's a lot different from San Diego. Good morning to you. Arlette Johnson in the building, Connecticut. Lysandra Brackens, North Carolina. AP Patrick Lawrence is in Connecticut. Chancellor Davis is in Las Vegas, Nevada, the 702. LaKenya Rowland right here in Jersey. The Queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele, she on YouTube today. Is in the building, the Queen of the Castle. You know, I always got to say that, man. The castle, man. MPA Jaguars is in the building. That's my man, Josh Tovar. What do you say? Sash. I don't know how you pronounce that one, Josh. I've never heard of it. Sash, Texas. Sachet, Texas. Right? Stacey Ann Barrett, New Orleans. September Devon Vance. Where we at? Jersey. Dr. Sheikah Houston's in the building, South Carolina. And as a matter of fact, speaking of Josh and Dr. Houston, Super Saturday. Hey, y'all, make sure you're checking us all out. Super Saturday. That's I'll give you just the Facebook platforms. 10 o'clock Eastern time. Sean Hurt, School Turnaround Principal, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. And then followed by myself, AP and New Principals Academy at 10:55. And then we shift over to Sunday, and that's Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno with the PDP podcast. So we Super Saturday with the 3 that I just gave you, and then the 4 collectively, we call ourselves the Fantastic 4. Awesome, tremendous PD, free every Saturday and Sunday, right? Here we go. We got Stacy Joy out there in LA. LA meaning Los Angeles. Gadiel Morales is in the building. Appreciate the repost. Gadiel, I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, give me the phonetics so I don't mess it up again. Josh is on fire. I hear you, Josh. I'm on fire too, man. I really am. We're gonna talk about it in a minute. We got David Bell out in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Adrian Young, Newport News, Virginia. I was just having my Adrian. I hope if you're an administrator, you know I'll be out there. We just had the meeting yesterday. I'll be in Newport News. I don't remember the date though. I think it's July. But I'll be there with all the administrators. Looking forward to it. AP Patrick Lawrence in the building. Jasmine Harris is also in Los Angeles. And I appreciate y'all West Coasters and beyond who get up early and tune in live. That's a blessing. James Wilburn, Denton, Texas. There's the wife back on Facebook. Melissa Jones Chunu, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jocelyn Nelson, Orlando, Florida. Principal Tammy Taylor, I should say Dr. Principal Tammy Taylor, the other half of Create and Educate, along with Dr. Sheikah Houston. I'm getting ready to shut it down so we can get started, y'all. Ray Lenz, I see you here in Dyer, Indiana. Let me read this. Gave my first public speech a week ago. There you go. Give you that hand clap. And I'm falling in love. There will be more, and I'm starting to write more. Books to come soon. I hear that. I still remember my first speech in 1986, and it was in May of 1986, and here we are, 2025, over 3,000 speeches later, and still kicking, right? So yeah, it's easy to become addicted to it, especially when the audiences are clapping for you. And it becomes even more addictive when they stand up and clap for you, when they cheer for you. Then you say, I like this. It's good for the self-esteem. Let me give another speech, right? So, Jacqueline Harriet's in the building, Nova Scotia. I think I'm gonna stop right there, Jack. Oh, I can't stop. I gotta add Dr. McKeever Jeter to Jacqueline Harriet. I wanted to stop at Jacqueline, but I gotta add Principal Dr. McKeever Jeter as well. So the two of y'all together. I appreciate the both of you. Let me stop it right there, y'all, because we got a whole session to go. I can't be shouting out all morning long. Hey, y'all, formally, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 270 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Hey, y'all, that question I ask every week, man, how you feeling? How you doing? You know, it's like when I first started asking that question every week, it was like I was kind of like joking with it, you know, kind of being half serious, you know, playing around, having fun with y'all. But you know something? That has become a very serious question. I can't even play with it anymore. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not like, and I keep saying, because I don't want people to tune in here and then the host, myself, gets like political, right? I mean, education is political. Don't get me wrong. But you understand what I'm saying when I make that distinction. So I'm not trying to do that because I don't think people tune in here to hear my political perspectives on life outside of education. But I will say this. Right now in today's political climate, I can't play with that question no more. You know, I'm gonna still ask you how you feeling, but I ain't gonna be doing all that laughing because this is serious now. It's been serious, but it's like after yesterday, it's real serious, right? So and I know, if I can speak for me, I know that this is not good for my mental nor emotional health. I have to find a way. Now check this out. I got to find a way to shut off cable news, but stay informed. So I should say I got to find a way to shut off cable news, stop reading the news, because I am reading, but yet stay informed. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if that's humanly possible to shut down media, but still be informed outside of somebody, your friend, your family, feeding the news to you. And I don't know that I want to stand around somewhere listening or sit around somewhere and listen to somebody feed me the news, right? So I'm saying all that to say that this is not good. You know, I'm speaking for me now, not you. You know, whatever, however you interpreting it, feeling it, you know, that's you, and you feel free to put it in the chat. But for me, it is not good for my mental nor emotional health to follow cable news, current events on a regular basis, right? Because it's too much flying out there. But again, looked at through a different lens, then how will I know what's going on? Particularly as an educator, right? So it's tough. It's a dichotomy, but I gotta figure it out. But that it is what it is. Hey y'all, welcome. First shout outs, man. Shout out to the Virginia Association of Elementary School Principals. They had their annual conference, state conference, and saw it not robbery to ask me to come and deliver the closing keynote this past week. And a room full of AP and New Principals Academy fam, the Virginia folks. We had a good time, man. So that was in Virginia Beach. It was hot too, man. Gave me a nice balcony right over the beach. I thought I was going to sit out there the other night and just chill, daydream. Man, that heat was like daytime, man. It was like midnight. I should have been in bed. I went out there. I said, nah, we ain't staying out here. I went right back in my room in that 68-degree air conditioner and just looked through the curtain, man. But but shout out to Virginia Association of Elementary School Principals. If any of y'all are on right now, which I hope you are, good to see all of you. Secondly, the Culturize Conference in Chicago, led by my man Jimmy Casas and my man Dr. Garth Larson. Saw it not robbery to ask me to do the closing keynote. People want me to close, man. I'm like that relief pitcher, right? So, like the conference is going well. Let's bring Principal Kafele to send them off with a bam, not a bang, a bam, right? So a lot of conferences, man, they're like, we want you to close. I'm like, why don't you let me open? No, we want you to close it, right? So, I mean, I do open, but I get a lot of closing events, right? So shout out to the Culturize Conference, man. We had a great time. A lot of fam in there, man. AP and New Principals Academy, a lot of fam, man. It was good to see them, take the pics, all that kind of stuff. And then my professional week ended with Durham, North Carolina, Durham Public Schools in Durham, North Carolina, under the leadership of Dr. Anthony Lewis. Man, they doing big things. So they had a 3-day leadership summit. Guess who closed the summit? They asked me to close it, baby. They didn't ask me to open it. They said, we want you to close it. So I closed it with a keynote and a follow-up breakout. It felt like the whole keynote crowd came to the breakout session, right? It was packed in there. But that's good because we talked about maximizing your administrative leadership team for instructional leadership effectiveness, right? So just great, man. And the volume of AP and New Principals fam in the room. Oh my God. It was so many of them. Like fam is in all the states. That's just the beauty of it, man. It's, I feel blessed. I feel honored. I feel humbled, all of that, just all the fam all over the country. And shout out to Dr. Asia Cunningham. She's principal out there, Milken recipient. She's my Milken sister. And, I got to spend a little time just talking to her and taking pics and all that kind of thing. So, Asia, if you're on, shout out to you. Good to see you. You know that. I don't even have to say it. You already know it, right? Hey, y'all, let's go. Welcome to the first timers. But if this is your first time on this platform, that means you have missed. My mother said, calmly closed. If y'all see Dolores Cushney on Facebook, that's my mother. She don't like me to. Hey, Ma, I told you I don't do the loud close anymore. It's over. I retired it, right? It's real calm. But I got to tell you, I'm talking to my mother as if it's just me and her on the phone. Jimmy Costas came up to me at the end of Chicago and he said, Kafele, man, I need that other close. Like that ain't it. I said, I know. I don't like it. I hate it. Right. He said, but I understand you got to take care of your health. I said, yeah, man, I can't be screaming up there no more. So anyway, y'all, if this is your first time, that means you've missed 269 sessions because this is number 270. So go to the YouTube channel, AP and New Principals Academy. Once again, go to the YouTube channel, AP and New Principals Academy. Hit the subscribe button. Guess how many subscribers we got now? 24,000. That's more people that can fit in Madison Square Garden at the Knicks game. Can you imagine that? They hold 20,000 when they got the basketball court. We got 24,000 subscribers. If we had an AP and New Principals Academy convention at Madison Square Garden or Barclays in Brooklyn, we couldn't fit all of you in. We had to set up like closed circuit outside so that you could watch from Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn or watch from 7th Avenue at Madison Square Garden, right? What a blessing, man. I see Josh. We could fit everybody at that Dallas stadium, but we ain't never going there. AT&T, we ain't never going there. So yeah, man, appreciate it. 24,000. So hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so that you know. So it'll pop up automatically once you hit the subscribe button, right? So make sure you subscribe because 24,000 is a heck of a lot. But, you know, my next goal now is 25,000, right? And we just keep it going. So just hit that subscribe button and let people know, because there's still a lot of people that don't know we exist. Even though I said all them people in them audiences the past 3 days, is a whole lot of people that sit in them audiences also. It's like, I ain't know nothing about this. I'm like, man, you mean your colleagues all sitting in here and they watching and they ain't telling nobody, right? So make sure that y'all tell somebody, man. Share the video. Here we go. Let me give you this rundown real quick, and I'm gonna hit my monologue. I'm gonna do a short version, and then bring up Dr. J Saturday. School Leadership Institute is around the corner now, July 15 and 16, y'all. I still got room. Come on through. We keep it small and intimate. I don't like to go over 100, but we still got some seats in there. So just go to principalcafele.com. Click the link where it's on the homepage. You'll say Instructional Leadership Institute. It'll take you to Eventbrite, register, and then join me in Raleigh, North Carolina on July 15 and 16. And then when you do so, you get a copy of it. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? That comes along with it. And most of you will also get the Principal 50 as well, right? So most of you get 2 books. But what is my value instructionally? That comes for everybody. If you already got it, just give it to somebody who could benefit from it or sell it to them, whatever it is, right? But that's the bonus that comes along with the 2 days of content that we're going to share. And also regarding, you know, just appearances, a lot of people ask me every day, every time I post on that I'm on a plane, I get inboxes and they say, can I come, right? Those are typically private events. Those are events. Those are school district events or school events. And, you know, you can't have the public coming to their PD. But I put my summer public events calendar on Facebook the other day. But I thought I would read it off real quick in case someone didn't see it. Let me go real quick. Tomorrow, San Antonio, Texas. ASCD ISTE conference. I'm doing a pre-conference session from 8 to 1, so a 5-hour session on maximizing your administrative leadership team. So if you haven't registered, but you can get to San Antonio tomorrow, right? Or if you're already in Texas or somewhere in the vicinity of San Antonio, come join me tomorrow morning. You got to pay though, right? But you go to ascd.org, register, and then join me in San Antonio tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We're going 8 to 1. We're doing a session I've never done before. This will be the first time I've ever done this session, right? So it'll be brand spanking new. So come on down and join me. Then I'll be there Monday the 30th doing a breakout session and a book signing. They will have all of my books. Every book I've written for ASCD, which is 10 books, they'll have them. I'll be doing a book signing, and then I'm flying home, and I took 8 days off. So I won't be doing any work for 8 days, because after those 8 days, I'll be speaking every day for the rest of July. So I needed to take a little vacation first. 8 days, I ain't going nowhere. I'll be sitting right in the crib, but that's all I need. Me and the wife, and we good. Let's see. So here we go. July the 10th, Innovative School Summit in Las Vegas. I'm doing the keynote and a breakout. That's July 10th, Innovative School Summit, Las Vegas. Google it. And then come on to Vegas and meet me there. July 12th, the United Conference, NAESP, that's the elementary school principals, NASSP, that's the secondary principals. It's a combined conference, Seattle, Washington. I'm doing a breakout session. That's on a Saturday, July 12th, but it's West Coast, so I'll still be live here. And then when I finish, it'll only be 10 o'clock Pacific time. And what I can't even calculate times right now. I'll be live on July 12th. And then when I finish, then I'll go and do my session at 2 o'clock Pacific time, right? So July 14th, I'll be in Orlando, Florida at the Hive Conference. That's HIVE. Google that. Maybe you want to come to Orlando and check me out. I'll be doing the keynote address and a breakout session. July 15 and 16, I'll be doing the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. You know about that. July 17, I'll be in New Orleans, right, at the SREB Making Schools Work Conference. That's July 17. I'm doing 2 breakout sessions for leaders, right? And then July 22nd, I'll be at the Corwin Annual Visible Learning Conference, Vegas, at the MGM Grand. So that place where Mike Tyson and all them fought, now Principal Kafele gonna be on the marquee, right? So I'll be keynoting at the MGM Grand, 7/22, July 22nd at the Corwin Annual Visible Learning Conference. Come join me. That's my summer conferences, right? So if you missed any of that, but you think you might want to attend something, then wait till we finish, and then you can watch the rerun, and you'll get all the information. Right. Lastly, my monologue. Let me jump into it. And then I want to bring up Dr. J, because it's Dr. J Saturday. So my monologue this morning, folks, we'll keep it short. It's called Let's Talk About Your Weekly Leadership Planning. Once again, let's talk about your weekly leadership planning. What am I saying? Listen up, y'all. When you were teachers, I would say probably the proverbial 99.9% of you taught at some point. When you were teachers, you were held responsible for writing a lesson plan. So, and you can take that held responsible kind of 2 ways. You could say that your administrator required that you write a lesson plan, or you could say, I wrote the lesson plan because I felt it was necessary to my practice, right? So or a combination of the 2. I would like to say for me, I wrote the lesson plan because it was necessary to my effectiveness as a teacher in the classroom. Not I wrote the lesson plan because my boss said I had to write it, right? So I wrote the lesson plan all day Sunday. It took me hours to write that lesson plan because I was considering individual students, right? So all day long, I'm writing this lesson plan. It was brutal. Got the TV in front of me watching NFL, but my focus is on the lesson plan. And then something funny happened when I became an assistant principal. I no longer had to write a lesson plan. I no longer had to write anything that was daily and weekly as far as planning. There was no requirement. So I walked in the building as a teacher with a plan in my hand. I walked in the building as an assistant principal with nothing in my hands. Right. You know, obviously my briefcase, but put that to the side with nothing in my hand. Then a year later, I became a principal because I was only an AP for the 1 year. I become a principal a year later, and I walked into the building with nothing in my hand as it related to a weekly or daily plan. So something funny happened in that transition. That daily plan was no longer required, nor was it on my mind. So here's what I'm saying to you in this brief monologue. Because you came in administrator doesn't mean you shouldn't be planning your day. It doesn't mean you should not be planning your week. I'm not talking about a school improvement plan. I'm not talking about any yearly planning that you do. That is not relevant to this discussion. I'm talking about when you, and here's the other thing I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about a to-do list. That little checklist, okay, I got to do this, check. I got to do this, check. I ain't talking about that. That's not a plan. That's what I just said, a to-do list. That's a list of things you said you want to do. I'm talking about a plan that lays out what will Monday morning look like from the time of arrival until, let's say, the end of homeroom. What will from homeroom to the, let's put it in time. What will 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock look like for me? What will 9 to 10 look like for me? What will 10 to 11 look like for me? What will 11 to 12 look like for me? And on and on and on. And what are the goals associated with what will those blocks of time look like? So you got the goal, and then you got the strategy. So what will you say in the strategy, right? Because imagine you walk into a school and you have no plan, then your mindset outside of a to-do list is, okay, what am I going to do right now? That's the mindset, because you have no no prior thought out plan. You just walking into a building. All right, let's see. Think I'll do this. Or an incident arises, and oh well, I need to address that. So you go and address this incident. It may require 3 hours of investigation, talking to parents, calling parents, whatever. But if you were planning, you may have been able to anticipate that incident weeks before it even happened, gotten yourself way ahead of it, prevented it, and now it never happened because of your planning process. So I'm saying to you folks, I'm saying to you fam, not folks, fam, your days have to be planned out just like they were when you were a teacher. And although sometimes those teacher lesson plans became obsolete because life happened, life got in the way, that's okay. You still had a template, and you still and therefore still had that skeleton to get back to once you overcame whatever that challenge was. But if you got nothing to fall back on, then you're essentially winging it. And leadership that entails winging it, that's not exactly optimal leadership. So make sure, as I close, that your day and your week are planned, that you've given forethought, that you've given prior planning to your week. You have forecasted what the week will be. And now as you step in it, you've already envisioned it. It's not new to you. You envisioned it. You saw it. And now you walk it. But when things happen, disruptions, distractions, things happen, okay, deal with it, but then get yourself back on course. You got to operate in a plan, because all other things in life that are done productively is usually a plan associated with. Let me just say this one last piece to make that make sense. So if you're an entrepreneur like myself, you ain't waking up or planning to be an entrepreneur. You're not waking up and winging it all day. You have a plan of action. And if you don't have a plan of action, that's probably why your business is not taking off the way you would want it to, right? Or that's why your business is not performing at a high level the way you would want it to, because your plan is flawed or lacking. You got to be a planner. You've got to have a plan. Enough said, y'all. Let's go. I got the big time guest, Dr. J, in the building, Dr. Marcus Jackson. And let me get him on up here. I might have to make some adjustments to the screen. We good. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good brother. How you doing? Hey. It's Kafele and Dr. J.
There you go. There you go. I'm good, man. I'm really feeling good. I'm still excited about last week, and I'm excited about the week coming. So I'm excited about being on here with you today. So I'm good. Hey, to the fam out there, and I see you, Wade. Good to see you this morning. The fam out there, our topic: leadership isn't golf or singles tennis. It's a team sport, in quotes, right? It's a team sport. So, if you're out there and you're operating in this vacuum by yourself, you're Superman, you're Superwoman, you're Lone Ranger, and you're detached, then that's why we put this session together. This is for you. That's why I put the questions I put together, and that's why Dr. J wrote this book, Essential Systems for School Success. So before he and I jump into this conversation, let me just pitch this book right quick. Essential Systems for School Success. You can go right to Amazon. Like, as I tell my audiences, I'll throw the book up and I'll say, you can go like right now. You don't have to wait until I'm gone. Just pull out your device. I ain't going to be mad at you. And just go right to Amazon, like in real time right now. Get yourself a copy of this book. This book, I believe so much in this book, which is why Dr. J is on here every last Saturday through December, right? We're in April to December, because I want to go through this book. So, but we're not covering everything in here. You got to get this, right? So, Essential Systems for School Success, subtitled An Integrative Organizational Framework, Dr. Marcus Jackson. Hey, Doc, let's jump into it. Chapter 4 of Essential Systems, a book I just showed, Essential Systems for School Success, is entitled Bringing Others With You. Just the title alone intrigued me. Bringing others with you, because I thought about the fact that there are folks who are trying to do this thing alone. I remember as a rookie principal myself, I'm doing it alone. I got both hands, all 10 fingers, both feet, all 10 toes in everything, right? Forget about 10 toes down. They were 10 toes in everything, right?
Mhm.
So when we talk about essential systems for school success, what do you mean? What are you saying to us? What is the central message in bringing others with you? And why is it important that you created a chapter of that title?
First of all, again, thank you for actually having me here, Principal
Oh, yeah.
Capelli. Man, I'm filled with those 3 E's: the energy, the excitement, and enthusiasm, and I'm ready for this Saturday to share some knowledge and nuggets that these assistant principals and that these leaders can actually bring back to their schools to eventually help a child.
Appreciate you.
And first of all, there's an old cliche in leadership where they say it's lonely at the top. We've all heard that. However, if you're in that mindset, you're hiking, you're not leading, because you can't get to the top by yourself. Let me repeat myself. If you have the mindset of it's lonely at the top, you're hiking, you're not leading. You cannot get to the top by yourself. Just as you did, I found out that the hard way when I came in as a big time assistant principal. Man, I was wanted in Chicago, I was wanted in DC, I was wanted in a couple of districts in Georgia, and I came in and I was hot stuff. And I quickly found out this is not the way to go.
Right.
So I had to bring others with me. I failed immensely during that first 6 weeks. And when I started bringing other people along with me, it was then and only then where life is up. Currently, right now in my district, we operate with an us mentality. And with that us mentality, Principal Capelli, man, we had another historical year, 4 consecutive years of 100% of our students graduating. We're leading the state in several categories in regards to school improvement. Our attendance is up. Student achievement is up. Grades are up. Wow. And most importantly, this is June. School has been out in 4 weeks, and all of our schools are not only filled with certified teachers, but qualified teachers. So we're ready for the next year. None of that could have been accomplished by one person. It takes an us mentality.
Us mentality. Wow. It's and to the fam out there, it's easy to fall into that trap. We a lot of us come out of an AP experience where we're full-time, roll up your sleeves and handle the discipline and the cafeteria and all that kind of work. And then we're these principals, and we didn't get the grooming and the grounding that we needed in order to be effective, right from the top as a brand new principal. So with that said, Dr. J, we got the start of a new year just right on the horizon now. The folks here in the Northeast, they're saying don't talk like that because we just went into summer break, right? They don't go to school till September, but the students anyway. But there's a plethora of new principals that are going to be in these schools nationwide. My question to you is a two-parter. How might a new leader avoid the trap of going it alone in year one?
Well, if you're coming into a new school, one of the first things you can do is find out who are the heavy hitters at the school in those 4 areas we talk about in regards to systems. You have 4, just like your body have several systems, your school have 4 systems. You have the curriculum that covers everything under teaching and learning and planning and observations and things of that nature. And secondly, you have operations and logistics. Those are the key things that makes the school go. Arrival, dismissal, things of that nature, duty, who's on duty for lunch and things of that nature. Then you have the achievement portion of the school. That's the statistical portion and analyzing data, et cetera. And then you have that culture and climate piece. Those are the 4 systems that operate within your school. As a new principal, the first thing you have to do is find out who are those specialists in each one of those areas within your school. You have someone who specializes in that area in each one of your schools. That should be your number one goal. And once you have that, secondly, you should establish teams around in each one of those areas. That should be your starting point. Man, I had a phenomenal meeting yesterday with earlier this week on a new bill that has been introduced in the state of Texas, House Bill 6. It's going to blow the state up. It centers around discipline. This is a bill that allows free suspension range for all pre-K through second grade students. We used to couldn't suspend them, but now you can. This gives teachers the autonomy to simply say, hey, I don't want that teacher, I don't want that child in my classroom anymore. A teacher can literally say that.
Wow.
A teacher can literally, this is the law, Kafele.
Wow.
We increased the amount of in-school suspensions we can actually have. We have a huge bill centered around discipline. So I had to bring a committee together. I have 3 board members. I have elementary principals, middle school principals, high school principals. I got teachers, elementary, middle, and high school. I have parents and myself and a couple other district leaders. I built a coalition together to see how we're going to attack these bills. There are 4 major rocks that we dealt with. We just simply broke up in groups and we dealt with each one of those areas of the bill. And at the end of the meeting, ChatGTP, just so great. We took our phones, we took a picture of the post-it boards where everybody wrote their notes on, and GTP spit us out a detailed analysis in a paragraph or 2 form or 2 paragraphs in regards to what we need to focus on in that particular area. That's an example. That's an example of bringing everybody in.
Yeah.
Knowledge and the wisdom to attack House Bill 6, but it does nothing. It does nothing. So now when this bill is introduced and enforced in the schools, and parents who disagree with it, the vision of the district, now I got board members who was on that committee. Now I got parents that can go on social media and say, no, I was on that committee. Now I got teachers can say, hold on, I was on that committee. I was a part of making those adjustments within our student code of conduct and our handbook.
It's powerful stuff. And that certainly goes right to the heart of the question, right? Even for that new one. Let me switch it up. Same question, but let me change the individual. So you got a veteran who's not really being coached effectively in the district. They're kind of on their own, sink or swim. And this person certainly is not tapping into the human capital that is in that building. So they're just trying to do, they're feeling worn out, tired, overwhelmed, burnt out, all that kind of thing. What do you, that person might be on this thread right now, because there's a lot of people on it now, and there's a lot of people who will see it later. So what if that person is on this thread? There's a veteran principal who's not connected to the school. He's as you know, going back to the title of the chapter, bringing others with you. This person is not bringing others with him or her. What do you say to that veteran going into the 25-26 school year about abruptly changing your practice so that you can, number one, preserve yourself, your leadership, and ultimately be a school this on the winning side of the equation?
A couple of things I would advise that veteran leader, whether it's an assistant principal, a colleague I work with at the district office, or an assistant principal or principal at the school level. And it's a pretty simple but very, very important question. Principal Kafele, you always talking about self-reflection, and you got exercises you do with the mirror. And you should ask yourself one simple question as a leader: would you follow you? Would you follow you? And when you ask yourself that question, two things need to come into mind. Number one, what are your 2 flaws? What are those 2 flaws you have? And that need to be followed behind what are your 2 strengths? And once you put those 2 together, and one of those flaws touches the human spirit or touches the soul of another human being, there's a problem and there's an issue. Let me give you an example. My two flaws are I need to improve on my long-term planning because I'm I come from a transformational leadership where I deal with issues that I deal with now that are life or death situations today. My students are not worried about tomorrow. They are worried about today. I come with the mindset I don't have have to wait until the end of the year to find out if our students are learning. I need to know that today. That's my mindset. So one of my flaws is working on my long-term planning. Secondly, I can be a procrastinator at times. I can get so busy. I can be doing a multiplicity of things, but none of those two things touches those people I serve. And my two strengths are I operate from the effective domain. I go to what's important to the people first, especially the little people who we serve. And then my interpersonal skills are good. Those two touch the human spirit in a positive way. So I will ask that leader to take a deep look within themselves. And I got a series of questions that I will ask them, Kafele. First, would you follow you? Secondly, do you have a deep conceptual understanding of those you lead? You got to know your team in order to grow your team. You got to know your team in order to grow your team. The third question is, when things go wrong, is your team comfortable coming to you? Is your team comfortable coming to you when things go wrong? Fourth, can you be trusted with mistakes and flaws? Can you be trusted with mistakes and flaws? And finally, and I ask myself this every single day, did I make space for others to be heard and valued? And once you start reflecting on those questions, brother, the wheels start turning and we get into some deep dialogue at that particular time.
That's a lot. That's a whole masterclass. That's a whole AP New Principals Academy session, right? I could like take all my notes and just toss them, and then we just focus on that. But let me go to one of those that you just gave. I want to stay there for a minute. Hey fam, Dr. J just asked the question, do you have, this is to that veteran that may not be as attached, as connected as maybe you should be. Do you have a deep conceptual, and I think the key word is conceptual, understanding of the people you lead, right? Like, do you know them? Do you have rapport with them? Do you have relationship with them, right? Does that exist? As much as, you know, those of us on the call, and we've been doing this a while, and then obviously myself and Dr. Jackson, we it's easy. We could, you know, we put it out there. We can move on to the next question. However, I know that aspiring people tune in. I know that new principals tune in. I know that assistant principals who are not assistant principals in the truest word of what that means, the truest title of what that means, I know that they tune in. So I don't want to leave it yet. I want to ask you, Doc, again, you said, do you have a deep conceptual understanding of the people you lead? So the question may be common sense to some of us, but it may be powerful to someone else. How do I develop this deep conceptual understanding of the people I lead who happen to be in my building, but I don't really know them? Gotcha.
And Principal Fele, this was actually outlined in my book, 10 Daily Essentials for Assistant Principals and 10 Daily Essentials for Assistant Principals. And it starts doing pre-planning. And I'm giving free game away today, as you've been doing for 270, is it 270 or 271?
270.
270 weeks. I'm doing pre-planning. I get very personal. Everything is interrogative. But I reveal my answers to these 5 questions myself first. That's how I start that off. I'll be vulnerable with my staff first. First question is, how do you feel about your performance last year? And what is your perception of your teaching style? And of course, if it's a new teacher, you move on to the next question. That second question, what are your goals and expectations for this school year? I'm not giving those to you. I want you to give those to me. Number 3, what are your goals for the next 30 days? Now I got you really thinking. Number 4, what are your strengths and what are your areas of refinement that you need as a teacher? Now it's getting deep because now you're about to reveal yourself to me. Most of the time it's classroom management, differentiated instructional strategies, planning, all things that teachers grapple with. But it goes to another level, Kafele, when you can tell me that. And during this particular meeting, I'm already talking about my issues I'm dealing with, long-term planning, and I can procrastinate sometimes. So I've opened up the floor. And the fifth, and what I feel is the most important question. Do you have any personal issues going on this year that can maybe inhibit your you reaching your optimal level at any time during this particular year? Now, by this time, everybody's followed the story of my mom. But when I was a principal, man, my mom has dementia. She had a stroke. I drive to Jacksonville 5.5 hours every week, and I come back early in the morning on Sundays, and I come straight to school on Monday morning. They knew my journey in regards to me being a caregiver of my mom all the way up to her death. So they had a deep conceptual understanding. I gave myself away. So others had no problem giving themselves to me. So now when I'm greeting you in the morning, hey, how's your son doing? He's in chemo. How's he doing? Oh, Dr. Jackson, he had a tough week today. Thanks for asking. I go to my teacher. Hey, how did it go at the doctor's appointment?
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Jackson, there's no more lump. It's gone. And now I can have those type, engage in those dialogue. And currently, right now, I'm working at the district office. Kafele, man, I know everything about everybody in the building, the kids, the husband, the divorce. I got it all. So now I can come talk to you and I can be personal before we get to this business stuff.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful stuff, man.
And question number 2, somebody asked, what are your goals and expectations for the year?
There you go. Got that. What are your goals and expectations for the year? You know, I remember that your journey during that time, but I didn't know about the drive. Right? Yeah. That's it's heavy. It's heavy duty. You know, there's an expression. It's said different ways, but essentially, you want to build a team where your employees, you want to be able to build a team where your employees are willing to run through a brick wall for you. Now, we don't mean that literally, but meaning the translation is we are on board with this leadership, right? We're willing to run through a brick wall for this leadership. So I read this article some time ago, and they were saying that there were these 3 prerequisites to having that level of leadership. Poses questions, and I want to ask you. I want to pose these questions. Number 1, do you care for and about your employees? Number 2, are you investing in your employees to help them get to where they want to go? And number 3, can your employees trust you? So I was, as I was putting this together and thought about that whole idea of running through a brick wall for the leader, I thought about you with these questions, and I just wanted to get your thoughts for the fam out there. How does one demonstrate care? And you essentially you answered it, right? But how does one demonstrate care for and about their staff while simultaneously, and this is the addition now, while simultaneously holding them accountable?
Yes. Give you a quick example. I had a teacher my first year as a principal, rock star, 2nd grade teacher. I mean, everybody knew in the district she was just that teacher. She had just went through a pretty ugly divorce, and she had issues with daycare. Driving in Atlanta, traffic is crazy. So she had the daycare didn't open until 7:15, but she had to be to work at 7:30. So that was impossible for her to do that traffic wise. So she pulled me into my office and she said, Dr. Jackson, I have a serious problem. I have a serious issue. And it's with my child. And it's a daycare issue. Could I have your permission to come to school about 15 minutes late, about 10, 15 minutes late? everybody knew this situation and how ugly her divorce was, very abusive situation. So everybody was awaiting my answer. Remember, now this is a veteran. This is one of the rock stars.
Yeah.
And I said, no, emphatically, absolutely not. She broke out in tears. And I said, hold on, while she was walking out. And I said, come back in. Come here. Come back in. I say, this is what we're going to do. Come in early. Come in early. Sign in. Let everybody see you. Bring your kids and your baby with you. Okay? And I said about 7:15, 7:30, once everybody starts, we're going to send the 2 student teachers in there to start your class off.
Mm.
And then you take your child to daycare and come back. Everybody saw that.
Yeah.
So you got to have examples where people are seeing that caring spirit that you have, but at the same time holding you accountable. I made sure she was work on time. Matter of fact, she came early. Everybody saw she was there. She got started. The student teachers took over. She left for 20 minutes, came back. The day's going on. And everybody saw that example of caring, and it became contagious.
Yeah. You know, I think I could probably speak for everybody on the fam call, where you created a cliffhanger. Because when you said no, we like, I bet you all of us like, huh? Right? And then you went on and, yeah, you probably need to do some movies with cliffhangers, right?
Yeah.
Keep them coming back. That good, but to the point you made, powerful stuff, right? And just you being that example, being that model, everybody getting to see who you are. This wasn't behind closed doors. Everybody got to see, oh, we see who he is.
And Kafele, to piggyback on that or stretch it out, and I've actually may have mentioned this in several of my other times I actually been with you on this platform. You got to know your team in order to grow your team. And I gave that example on my first year as an assistant principal on how the 4th and 5th grade team, which was on the same hall, was literally about to fight one another. They wanted to go at it. And then I found out that each one of those 8 teachers had some serious issues going on. Divorce. Their son was rebelling. They had some major issues going on. But I had to find that out first to be able to support them. And they saw that I cared about them on that level. They saw that I cared about them on that level. And then they just took their support for one another, and they took their performance up to another level. And I'm going to add another question to those 5 and pre-planning questions. Number 1, let me know about how's your family doing? Do you have any brothers and sisters? And I'm going to tell you why I added that question into my pre-planning, Principal Kafele. During my assistant principal days, I'm huge on collaboration, as you can tell, getting valuable input from one another. Well, I had about 8 teachers after one professional learning community session and the importance of collaboration. They came to me crying because they were not used to that level of collective commitment and working together. Guess what the reason they were crying for, Kafele?
What's that?
They weren't used to sharing.
Mm.
And all 8 were the only kid. They were only child. And this was between ages 25 and 60. They played the piano growing up. They played, everything they did was solo. And now I'm putting them in an environment to collaborate with their grade level and share lessons and share strategy. They were not used to that. So now when I have someone who's on my staff and they're the only child, I have to treat them differently, and it's a different level of approach with them.
Yeah, I can certainly identify with that. Yeah, in my leadership capacity. Good stuff. Let's go. You know, so we were talking about, you know, demonstrating that care, that care and care for and about their staff while simultaneously holding them accountable. Let's go to that second question, which was, are you investing in your employees to help them get where they want to go? So my question, therefore, is, through your lens, what does investing in staff look like if there's more beyond what you've already said?
Got you. For example, that question I asked, what is your strength? What is your area of refinement? Once you've given that to me as the leader, what is your area of refinement? I'm actually automatically putting you on a professional learning plan in that particular area, which I've already presented my professional learning plan. I told you mine is long-term planning and procrastination. Here are the books I'm reading. Here are some great blogs to go to. And here are some great articles in that particular area. So now, since I've already doing this pre-planning session, reveal my flaws to you, I've shown you my resources that I'm going to improve myself in these areas. And here are the articles and here are the blogs that I'm actually reading daily to improve myself. You have no choice but to step your game up, because I've done that in a fashion that was non-threatening. And I was vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah, good stuff. Let me pause for a hot second. I want to highlight this particular comment. This is on the YouTube side. 79 people watching, 21 likes. Hit the thumbs up button. Jonathan is absolutely correct. Listen, fam, do me a favor. There's a lot of people to this day, since I started this 6 years ago, that want to send me Cash App money. They say they want to bless me and all this kind of stuff. Don't block their blessings. I get that all the time. I've to this day, I have not accepted anything monetarily. But if you want to bless the platform, if you want to bless me, here's how you bless me. Hit the like button. That's all I ask of you. If you stay on here and you like it, right? If you're getting something out of this, if you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or X, LinkedIn, or YouTube, right? We're on all four right now. Just hit the like button for me. That's all I ask of you. Hit the like button. But in addition, I guess it's not all I ask. Hit the share or the repost or the retweet or text somebody, call somebody, yell somebody upstairs and come on down if it's relevant for them. Let people know. Don't hoard it for yourself, right? But again, if you want to bless me in the platform, simply hit like. Because if you're on here, if like on the YouTube side, if it's 79 people watching on YouTube, but it's 21 likes, then there's a lot of people. Let me see if I can do my math live. There's 58 people who are watching it, but they haven't expressed an opinion, right? So just hit the like button, right? Not because I want to, not for my ego to say, wow, all these people liked it. No, it's an algorithm-driven world that we live in relative to social media. So therefore, when you hit the likes, the algorithms activate the platform, and it gives us more exposure to more people. So that's not just on YouTube, but I'm addressing YouTube because that's where Jonathan is. But make sure that whatever platform you're on, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button, but also hit the share or the repost or the retweet, whatever it is, right? Because see, let me say this one more thing. I know we're here to talk to Dr. J about our topic, but I got to say this while it's in my head thick right now. All of us have a lane, right? Presumably, all of us have a lane. My lane is the work that every one of you know me for. That's my lane. And professionally, it's my only lane. But the Saturday portion of my lane is this, right? The weekday portion is when I'm on the road flying like I'm a bird. But now, this is it. So this is what I do. This is my lane to make the world better, right? If I could be quite frank with you, this is my lane to make the world better. This is my lane to increase the probability that a child somewhere in the world that I will never meet will have a higher chance for success, right? A higher probability for success. This is my opportunity when I'm on here Saturday, when I'm in the world Monday to Friday, right? So all I'm asking, all I'm requesting is that you let someone else know that we're here, right? Now, if you don't feel that this is a powerful platform, then I would ask why you're here then, right? So I have to assume you believe that it's a powerful platform or you wouldn't waste your time on it. So let someone else know that it's powerful. And that way we increase the probability that some child somewhere in America or beyond has a better chance for success because their leader is better prepared for tuning in and learning of the resources that every guest, including the host, offer beyond the platform. Enough said. Let's get back to it. I appreciate you, Jonathan, because I'm not always thinking that way when I'm deeply engrossed in the guest. Last one, Doc. That question that was asked, can your employees trust you? So my question that I crafted for you, how does one go about establishing trust?
And that's interesting. You asked that question because that was a mental note that I actually had, and of course I follow the assistant principal blogs and their sites on Facebook and Twitter. And a hot topic this week was observations. And you're talking about gaining trust. The quickest way to actually gain trust between the leader and the teacher is through observations. However, and I want everyone to think about this for a second. There's a huge difference between I got you and I got you.
That's right.
And write this quote down. If the only time you're doing observations is when observations are due, is no longer an observation, it's an obligation. And the feedback is moot. Let me repeat myself again. If the only time you're doing an observation is when observations are due, it's no longer an observation, it's an obligation. And the feedback is moot. It don't matter. It falls on deaf ears.
Yeah.
And Principal Kafele is talking about trust. When you gain in that trust as a leader, as a principal, an assistant principal, with your teachers, you have to be going into their classroom for an experience and going in there with the we're in this together mentality. And matter of fact, it starts way before then. When I led my 14 low performing schools in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that turnaround we did, Principal Kafele.
Yeah.
Even me as a central office and my principals, they were thought partners. They participated in every single planning session that those teachers had. So when they went into the classroom, when they went into those classrooms, it was a remember when? Remember when we talked about that? You did a good job. Remember when we added that second little piece in there? You forgot to do it. But then we got to a point where we were so close and we were so comfortable with one another, we were able to do some whisper coaching during the evaluation and observation. Hey, you forgot to do the second part. Oh yeah, boys and girls, man, it was magical. It was magical, Kafele. And those are the type. That's the type of teaching and learning that was actually going on with the principals. We became the principal and the teachers, and that grade level became partners instead of an evaluator and a director. It was a beautiful thing. That's how you gain that trust, where the students and the teachers will ask you, are you coming to see me today? Are you coming to my class today?
Yeah.
We created that type of environment. And that was actually built, that foundation was built on trust. And unfortunately, in many educational settings we actually in, our trust foundation is built on quicksand.
A fam out there, you heard what Dr. J just said. He asked the question in terms of the teacher, are you coming to see me today? Right? Are you coming to visit today? So the question as I hold up my mirror is that the culture you're creating in your school? Right? That instructional leadership, instructional coaching, learning environment where teachers are welcoming your visit, where they're asking for your visit, where they're seeking your feedback of a lesson or a portion of a lesson, something they're trying new. Is that part of the culture of your school? Because if it is, that's a reflection of your leadership. If it isn't, that's a reflection of your leadership, right? So you've got to make sure that you're intentional about creating that culture where you've got a school full of teachers saying, when are you coming through? When are you stopping by? Can you come by and check out this new thing that I'm trying out in my classroom, right? This new strategy that I'm trying out with a portion of the students in a true student-centered classroom where it may not be for everybody, right? So, but that's you. And as Doc just said, you build in that trust, man, they want you because they know that you're going to make them better.
And it goes to another level, Brother Kafele, when the kids get involved.
Yeah.
Dr. Jackson, you coming by? You coming by our classroom today? You coming by? Yes, I'll be there at 1 o'clock. And man, if I missed that 1 o'clock because something happened and I had to leave the building, and man, I came back the next day, the fourth graders gave me the business. Man, you let us down. You coming by today? I'm coming by first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I cut everybody and I say, don't call me.
Yeah.
I told you about those 4 Bs. You remember those 4 Bs, Principal Cafele?
You gotta give them to me again.
Man, those 4 Bs, don't call me during my observation time, which was from 8 o'clock to 9:30. And in the afternoon, from 1 o'clock to 2:30. Don't call me. I don't care who fighting, unless it's one of the 4 Bs. And that was, unless the boss call or come to the school. That's the boss. Second one, if the boys in blue come to the school, that means there's a serious issue going on. Number 3, if somebody, my baby, my daughter, my son called, that B is serious because I don't even have my cell phone. So if they call a school, it's something really serious. And that 4th B, Principal Cafele, my boo. But I'm single. But if my boo called, if I was married and my boo called, y'all come get me because she's calling me at school. So that's something serious. And it was that level of commitment we had in regards to going into those classrooms. And those were sacred times. And we were building trust. Principal Cafele, you've actually seen my success over the years at the district level. And it was actually built on that foundation of trust.
Hey, y'all, let me just put the silly me in here for a hot second. My wife probably saying, "Uh-oh, where he going?" So back in my principal years, my wife was home this particular day, and she could hear something in the walls. But we of the 4 Bs, we on boo, y'all. My wife could hear something in the walls, right? And it sound bigger than a mouse, right? She said, "I think it's a squirrel in here." I told my AP, "Yo, you got this." I had to drive back to Jersey City from East Orange, and I called the exterminator, and he had some kind of technique, and he went up and he knew where the hole was, and he made some kind of sound that attracts them, and that squirrel came walking out, baby. And then he puts a one-way exit, right? So they couldn't get back in. But my boo, that's what we talking about. He called me.
You had to go.
I had to leave the school. and then once we got that done, I still had more day to go. So I went on back to work. So I hear you. I got a story for every situation, y'all. Yeah. Every situation. There go the wife right here. There she go. Hey, let me share something in the book here. Brief passage. We won't read the whole book to them. You said, as you sit in your office, gazing out at the school grounds, you think about your bright future you have planned for your educational institution. You contemplate the clever plans and strategies you are certain will put your school on the map. But amid your excitement, a sobering thought takes hold. You can't achieve this transformation alone. It's not enough to have a great vision and clever plans. You must inspire every other stakeholder to march with you. Right? I'm going to say that last part again. You must inspire every other stakeholder to march with you. Right? So here you've got let me be this new principal. I'm the new principal in a school that's had a different principal every year, every other year. You go to a school sometime and they'll say, "We have our fifth principal in the last 6 years." I hear that a lot, right? More than I need to. So I'm the newest principal in a long line of successive teachers and a disgruntled staff who has no trust that I will be there after this year. So that last line I read, what might inspiring every stakeholder to march with me look like? What does that look like?
Principal Cafele, as you actually discussed earlier with me, and I actually was able to give an example, but I go back to one of your quotes, and I don't know if you even remember saying it. You was just flowing one day, and I wrote it down in my memory bank. You said, you got to personalize it to rectify it. I don't know if you remember saying, you say you got to personalize it to rectify it.
I don't, but I'm gonna write it down.
and it never left me. The people has to be a part of the problem. I gave you an example. We got this huge state law that's going to affect everybody immensely. It's going to hit everyone like a tsunami here in Texas at the beginning of the school year. You're talking about unlimited suspensions where a teacher can just simply say, get that student out of my classroom. You got all these things coming along. I had to galvanize the coalition, and I got that coalition. But guess who I had in that coalition with me, Kafele? I had a elementary principal. She's new. This is her second year. She's still novice principal. And I had a brand new principal, that middle school principal, Ruffin Brown. She was actually with that group with me. And of course, I had another veteran teacher, but she's pretty novice as well, from the high school. So I was intentional with that. And as I led that group and gave everybody individual assignments of the bill to work on, they start working on the bill on how we are going to attack this particular bill, this particular school year. They start writing down their ideas. And when they heard their ideas, once we took a picture of that chart and ChatGTP focused out our mission and our goals and our strategies on what we're going to put into the student conduct and the student handbook. And when they heard their words or their ideas in that strategy, boom, I had them. Guess what? That was at the district level. So I circle back around and I say, let me tell you what I just did for you. I just gave you your whole pre-planning session on what to do. I say, have you identified that lead person who's that teaching and lesson expert who's getting results every day at your school? Yes. Have you identified that person who's great with operational logistics? She's like, yes, I got about a couple of those, man. My custodian, my secretary. I was like, that's your operational logistics team. I said, what about your student achievement person? Who's that statistical person who knows all the data from which teachers is good as this? Who is that? Yeah, I got that person. I say, who is that fun-loving person that knows everybody's birthdays? They're baking them cakes. They got deals with the community partners, and that can bring everybody together. Do you have those individuals? Yes, I know those. I say, you have just started to develop systems. Now you need to put everybody on the team, and you need to do what I just did in the areas of curriculum, operational and logistics, achievement, and culture and climate. And start your school year breaking everybody up in 4 different rooms and have them rotate. And now you got somebody from every team who's contributed to every area of the school: the curriculum piece, the operation piece, operational logistics, you got the achievement piece, and you got the culture and climate piece. Back in the day, I used to have to take all those notes, and we used to write statements out. We used to have to write them out. This is our goal in the area of curriculum, teaching and learning, planning, lesson planning, instructional feedback. But now I can go to ChatGPT and take a picture of that screen and it spit it out for me. And then you go back to your staff and you have everybody sign it and put that in the frame. So when you come across those issues with feedback and nobody's turning their lesson plans in, you said that we was going to do it this way. We said it, not me. We said it, and you're not following it up again. So you have built a culture of collective commitment, and that's all you want, Kafele. That has been my bread and butter, and I took that opportunity with those new principals, and I said, I just gave you your pre-planning professional development with your staff. And she's like, oh my God. Oh my God, could you come by my school next week and actually help me organize that? No problem at all. Oh, and here's your book.
Wow. Let me put it back on the screen because, as Sean Hurt would say, you talking good, right? So essential systems for school success. You can go to Amazon right now. This is what, Dr. J is doing the AP New Principals Academy residency. So every last Saturday of the month from April to December. Here we go. This is what we're dealing with. So get yourself a copy. You can go to Amazon right now, get yourself a copy, and use it as a reference, not as a book to read and put on the shelf, but it's one of those books you want to keep referring back to, because that's the way he structured it. And it's just a good book for you and your entire team, your leadership team. And I might even add, those of you at the district level, your teams as well, superintendent all the way down, all the way across, right? That's the book for you. Let's keep going. I was debating within myself if I even want to ask this question, but I think I will. There's an age-old debate as to whether or not leaders are born or made, right? So when I was thinking about what we're doing in that particular question, when we were talking about, when I asked you how might inspiring every stakeholder to march with me, what might it look like? Another question kind of popped into my head, and the question is, can the ability to inspire be taught, or is it innate?
Well, I think God is actually giving each and every one of us leadership traits. If we actually go back and actually look at our life, take a deep conceptual understanding. For example, we were in a training with a lot of principals and even some members on my team, and we were going over your book, Principal Kafele. What is my value instructionally? We did an entire professional development on it. You even posted one of the teachers teaching one of the sessions, and during that particular session, we broke off and we did an activity. And one gentleman said, we were talking about the difference between leader and leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the gentlemen actually said, well, I'm not a leader. I'm just a student support administrator, but I'm not a leader. And that teacher, she was an instructional specialist with the district. And she said, hold on, stop. She stopped the whole session. And she said, yes, you are. Yes, you are a leader. I came to this particular school and you had 3 little boys that was having a tough time. And she walked them through he had 4 schools that he worked with me with. And she was able to tell him the 4 times that she saw him in a leadership position, but he was leading kids. And I say that to go to say that I think we all are born with leadership qualities and traits. And if we go back, we will see that those traits were actually developed. For example, on my end, I'm a country boy. I grew up on the farm. So since the ages of 5, I've been helping the words collaboration, teamwork, resiliency, resolve, intestinal fortitude. That was actually instilled in me at an early age growing up on the farm. Fearfulness. I had to go get the chickens. I had to go kill a chicken. I had to go get the eggs. I had to battle the snakes. I had to go feed the pig the slop who tried to eat me before I can put the slop. I mean, I had to do all of that.
Wow.
And before that, I'm the oldest son of 8, 6 boys, 2 girls. So I had to cook for my brother. My mom had 3 jobs. So all of those were leadership things that I was doing. I played basketball. I was the point guard. And Kafele, right now, I'm still the point guard.
Yeah.
I'm still the community quarterback. I'm actually still doing those capacities, but I've been doing those for some time, and I'm just enhancing my qualities. And you have to be taught, and you're doing that on this platform. Some people are taking away some nuggets from this particular platform, and they're going to go back and implement those in their schools immediately, and it's going to help a child. So what you actually just stated in regards to that is your goal of this particular platform, you're achieving that, sir.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Yeah, this my lane right here. You got other people in this lane, this lane, this lane. This mine right here. Good stuff. But since you brought it up, let me just ask the fam real quick. Hey fam, you can write it or you can just process it. What's your lane? Right? What's your lane? Right? I don't mean in terms of the broad answer, I'm a principal, I'm an assistant principal. I mean within that, what's your lane in terms of your area of particular focus, right? Particular specialty. You happen to be particularly great at something. What is your lane, right? And are you a beast within that lane? That matters. That matters. Let's go. Where we at? You know, and we don't have a whole lot more to go, but let's delve a little bit deeper into inspiring teachers. you talk about building rapport with teachers, and you've got this area of focus where you talk about communicate your positive intentions, have an open door policy, and be proactive in getting teachers to communicate their concerns. And then there was a piece I wanted to share, a quick short paragraph with the fam out there regarding that. It's called Building Rapport with Teachers. When teachers look at a principal or a school board member, they can see an adversary who is out to punish or fire them for mistakes, or an ally who wants to empower them to accomplish their goals. Which one they see depends on the established culture. Enough enough there. So with that said, again, you said communicate your positive intentions, have an open door policy, be proactive in getting teachers to communicate. Let's look at each of those separately. I think I even made a have them. Yeah, I got them here. So let me put them on the screen. Communicate your positive intentions. What are you saying to us on that one?
Oh man, letting everybody know that it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to make an error. I spoke on that last month on a Saturday on how we established a mistake of the month. And those are hilarious, where a teacher said something and the child corrected the teacher, and the student body started laughing. And so we created that atmosphere amongst ourselves. So our teachers, guess what they did? They took that mistake of the month back to their classroom. Yeah. And now the students not only are correcting each other and telling each other, hey, it's okay to make a mistake and talk to one another in that manner, but they're doing it with the teacher as well. So they have to have that mindset where it's okay to make a mistake. Secondly, in regards to positive intention, I was chief academic officer. Man, I rolled out this big idea, and I had my instructional specialists were delivering to all our new teachers, and their principals were in there too. And somebody asked a question. The instructional specialist said, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. And then they turned to their colleague. Now, in the meantime, I'm Googling it, trying to find out the answer.
Yeah.
And the second person didn't have it, Kafele. And then they looked to me, the chief academic officer. I'm the big dog. I'm third on the org chart, right? Of course, I got all the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? I said, I don't have the answers. I said, I don't know. And then one of the participants in the back said, I know. And they said, would you please stand up and share with the group? And she stood up, and everybody gave her a round of applause. Now, subconsciously, what we created, and which every school should try to create, is a culture of how. A culture of how. How do I teach this special needs student? You had a great session on that last week. How do I reach this student? How do I become culturally competent so I can touch this group of students?
Mm-hmm.
We don't share the same cultural backgrounds. How do I manage these kids who really don't care about school? How do I inspire them? You have to create that culture. And I just gave you an example, and that comes with leaders being vulnerable.
That's right.
And that's how you approach our teachers, with a positive intention. So now when I go to our principals and they made a mistake and I got a call from a parent and I got to call them to talk to them about it, they know my intention.
Yeah.
Because they know it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah. Communicating with positive intentions.
Right.
I love it. You know, before we go to the next one, I kept this comment on the screen. Shaniqua Johnson, she said, excited to begin my journey as an AP this year. Bam. I don't think Shaniqua and I have ever met in person, but we have been Twitter friends for, I would say, at least 12 years. It's been a long time. So Shaniqua, I didn't even know that you got that, because I haven't seen you on Twitter in a minute. But I wanted to congratulate you publicly, because I remember your years as a teacher, because you posted a lot, and I got to see that on Twitter with your colleagues. So here you are, you getting ready to step into leadership, and I'm glad that you're a part of the fam in the AP and New Principals Academy. So y'all give us some love with some emojis, man. We got another new leader. And, you know, we talked about that before, first year leaders. So stay locked into this academy. Stay locked into every book that Dr. Jackson has written. Just put his name in the Amazon search. And then, you know, I'm going to say stay locked into every book that I have written, in particularly the new one. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? So I appreciate you and thank you back. Right. All right, let's go. So here we go. Next one. So you talked about these three things: communicate your positive interactions. The second was have an open door policy. So let me put it on the screen. And what does that look like?
Man, having an open door policy, that's an old cliche. But you wouldn't need an open door policy if you're always in the classroom.
How about that?
Let me say that again. You wouldn't need an open door policy if you're always in the classroom, because certain things can be transpired quickly this day and age through text messages, through drive-bys. Dr. Jackson, thank you for coming by for my lesson today. What did you think? Thumbs up, sideways, or down? And I used to say, oh, man, it was thumbs up. But you did go this way. What was it? And I was like, I'll send you a text message. And boom, that would be a quick text messages. Or usually anytime I go into my teacher's classroom as an administrator for those observations, we actually creating a level of trust and communication, because they get immediate feedback from me. And it doesn't have to be through a platform. That's with an observation tool. That can be, I'm just telling you about the experience I actually had that particular day. Yeah. And once again, I didn't do the open door policy thing because I was never in my office anyway. So there was never a door to walk. I was always in the classroom. I'm always in the cafeteria. I'm always somewhere within the building where I was readily available outside of those times where I was doing observations.
I love it. And you know, thinking about the new folks on here, and I was just putting all these congrats to Shaniqua Johnson, but all the new folks on here, let's just stay here for a second. I was the same way, open door policy, right? But I didn't want you to be able to find me in that office, right? I really didn't. And as I've said on this platform before, my ritual in my latter years was to my secretary in the morning. I'll see you about 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. If you need me, call me. I don't want to be there. I don't even want to have my conversations, which I like to use instead of meetings with my teachers, in my office. My office could be overwhelming. It's the principal's office. So I'd rather have that outside of there in their classroom doing a prep or whatever it is, right? So but it's still open door. Correct. I don't want people making appointments to see me. But if it's a thing where, you know, here's the contradiction. But if it's a thing where you just can't catch me, then fine, make the appointment. But I want you to know that you got access to me, right? And in particular, if you need me, then I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and I'm gonna talk to you, right? And that's for students as well, students, parents, whatever. But inherent in that is creating a culture where it's understood by all stakeholders that the leadership is being the instructional leader right now, right? And once that was understood, then folks understood how we proceed forward, right? So great stuff. You got one more in here.
Do you remember when I was principal at my last school where I had my office was a leadership literacy center. It was a literacy center, and it was filled with futons and different type of seatings, where if a child did come to the office, you had to pick up a book and read. Yeah. I had students laying down on the carpet, and that area was right in the front of the school. Right in the front of the school. So if you did come to my office, you had to pick a book. And I had different lexile levels. I had books. Most of the time, the boys, they gravitated to the books about cars and astronauts and frogs and whales and sharks. But they had to read in my office. I was intentional with creating that culture where somebody was sent to my office, wait for Dr. Jackson right over there in his office, and then they'll go sit on a futon and grab a book. I was very, very intentional with that.
I love it. You know, my thing was, and you know, there's so much overlap with you and I. My thing was I had student work all over my office. So it looked like the way that I would want to see a classroom, right? So students knew, bring your work down to me, and it got to a point where it's probably people probably would say it's cluttered because it was just so much because we created a culture. I mean, if you don't have a culture for that, you're not gonna have kids trying to send their work to the principal, right? But if there's a culture for it, now I want him to have my work. Now I want him to hang my work up on the wall, and I'm talking high school kids, right? So they're not too old to want their work on display. Sometimes we think they've outgrown that. No, they haven't. They're just taller. That's all. They're just taller. The needs are the same, right? So they getting that recognition from me. My door, and it's on my milking video. My door had pictures of current students, past students. The whole door is just kids. And I never asked them for those pictures. There was a culture there, so they knew just to bring the picture down because they know I'm gonna put it on my door.
Yeah.
Right. So the question to the fam then, what kind of culture are you building that changes your reality into what you want it to be, as opposed to having to live a reality that you dread? Because it's easy to be in your school and dread the reality of that school, meaning the culture of that school. Then you lead the effort in transforming that culture. But remember, we talking about you're not going it alone here. You got other people in that building, right? But that culture doesn't have to be what you don't want it to be. It doesn't have to be dysfunctional. It doesn't have to be toxic. It doesn't have to be counterproductive. That's you.
Principal Kafele, I hope the AP family just picked up that gem you just gave them. Man, I'm sitting over here with my mouth open. If I was a principal, if I was assistant principal, I would be taking that idea back to my school, inside of my office, outside of my office. I'm creating a mural with student work.
That's what it was.
I can just imagine those tough kids, those challenging kids, those frequent flyers that come to the office. Can you imagine them having their assignment up in Principal Kafele's office and outside the office with their name on it?
That's right.
And that may be an art.
That's right.
But guess what? There's going to be a domino effect because now he's going to want to have an English assignment up there. Hey, I have an essay. Hey man, I did good in math. I made an 88 in math. Here you go, bro. Can you stick it up there for me?
Yep.
Man, you just gave away some free game right there.
Yeah. Woo. And that's one of them things, like you said before, when I made that comment, that stuff is matter of fact. So I'm not thinking about it as being the way you just described it, because it was just what I did. Correct. Meaning who I am. Right. For me, it made sense to have an office that's not a business oriented office. Right. I said, if I'm in a child environment, meaning a school, why is my office not reflecting that? Right. So I got their work in there. Right. Among other things, I got the posters of all them heroes. I got Malcolm in there. I got Martin in there. I got Garvey in there. I got Sojourner Truth in there. I got Harriet Tubman in there. I got Carter G. Woodson in there. I got all these people in there. So that when the kids come in and then we start having conversation about these people and others, and I feel they don't know enough. Since you're down here, let's rap. Right. So now let's get into that conversation. Now, did you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, by the way? Oh, you didn't? Well, I got 500 copies sitting right here. Now the school eventually they knew my game. So, but in the early stages of when I bought all them books, they didn't know. So now, here, take this book. I can't make you read it, but I am gonna hold you accountable for reading it, right? But 9 times out of 10, they like, oh, no, I want that, Kafele. It's yours. I don't want it back. It's yours. And then let's talk about it from time to time. So that's, but see, again, fam out there, especially the new ones, like Shaniqua and others, and maybe even some veterans, don't overthink it. Sometimes you got to look at yourself and ask, who am I? And what is it about your qualities, your characteristics, that this stuff just emanates out of you? It just flows out of you because you're in touch with you. See, sometimes we get into these positions, we lose touch with ourselves. And we're so focused on the external that we miss the internal. So having what I just described, that's because that's who I am. Right? So don't lose sight of who you are. That matters too. Right? So let's go. Shaniqua said facts, man. I'm so glad Shaniqua was on here, man, because she brand new assistant principal. I knew her virtually. but I knew her when she's a baby, right? As a young teacher, now here you are, you're getting ready to step in there and lead. Good stuff, good stuff. Let me see. You had one more on there on that list. Let me give it to you. You said be proactive in getting teachers to communicate their concerns.
And the best way to actually do that one is be a part of the planning process with them and create that environment where it's okay to make a mistake. I'm going back to our planning sessions when I were in Calcasieu Parish, turning around those 14 low performing schools, and how we were very, very strategic. Of course, we were working with the NIET, and so we implemented the TAP process within our schools. But we got to a point where we actually noticed there was a major component that was missing, Principal Cafele, and it's actually in this book as well. And that component was there was no practicing of the lesson. Teaching is the only profession that does not practice before they go out to perform.
Yeah. We
plan,
yeah,
but we don't practice.
That's right.
So when I came to this particular school district, we implemented that practicing piece. And through that practicing piece, teacher colleagues start giving each other feedback on that particular lesson. I'm a part of the planning process. So when it comes time for the teachers to practice, I want to go in there and see as well. But their colleagues were giving each other feedback, and they had 4 areas, Kufele. You had the beginning of the lesson, you had the second portion of the lesson, the third portion of the lesson, and you had the conclusion of the lesson. But the teachers did not know which portion would they have. Therefore, the teacher has to study the lesson, annotate the lesson, be ready, because you don't know which part you're going to have. So during our planning process, we would pick the randomizer. Principal Fele, you got number 3, you're going to do the 3rd section. Dr. Jackson, Marcus, you got the introduction of the lesson. And once we do our part, which is about 5 minutes, our colleagues will give us feedback, our glows and grows, things that we can do better. They were giving that amongst themselves, and I was in there helping facilitate that piece because I was a part of the lesson planning process. Me as principal, I was in there with them. So now it became I got you instead of I got you.
Yeah.
So now when I'm coming in for my quote observation, I've already been in that class many times. I've been in that planning session with you, and I practiced with you. So now I can hit you with oh, you remember when?
Yeah.
Or I can ghost whisper to you. Hey, it's my signal. Yeah. Like, hold on 1 second, and I'll come by and I'll say you forgot part 2. Now I'm giving you an observation, right? I'm supposed to write you down. I'm supposed to write you up for that piece. And then come back during your feedback session and talk about it. But no, I'm going to fix it on the spot. Because if I go to the way we always done and talk about what you should have done during the lesson, that's autopsy feedback. Principal Fede, that's autopsy feedback. The lesson is dead. The student's learning is dead. And you're about to give a teacher some feedback on the dead lesson, some dead student, and some dead learning. So you got to fix it in real time. But you got to set that whole system up, though. That needs to be set up. And the way you actually set up is actually, some of that is actually mentioned in the book.
Hey, y'all, write that in your notes. Autopsy feedback.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah. Write that in your notes, y'all. Hey, y'all, we winding it down. Let me go to this last section here. The last section of this chapter is called Getting Involved in the Learning Process. Anybody that tuned in late, this is the book we're operating out of April through December, every last Saturday of the month, right? Essential Systems for School Success by Dr. Marcus Jackson. So you got this last section called Getting Involved in the Learning Process. And I just wanted to read this quick paragraph. You said, as a school administrator, you have a strategic overview of the whole school, and your duties and responsibilities are not solely limited to the learning process. The expectation is that you will manage every facet of the school, from transportation and safety to hiring and management. As a result, it can become easy to become detached from the learning process. Here are several tips that will enable you to get closer to your students and their academic process. So there's a lot of these tips. I wasn't going to ask you to address all of these, but what I did want to do, let me do it this way. Let me read them for the fam, and then I want to ask you just what are the ones that are most important to you. And I'm on your page 33. Right.
I'm gonna jump on that one, Kafele, the one you got up. Look at students' notes and classwork.
Yeah. Before you go, let me read that list to the fam. So the tips are, the 10 tips are: look at students' notes and classwork, classroom visits, connect with students, get students excited about the school's mission. That would be a big one for me. Personalize the academic experience. Encourage involvement and ownership, showcase success stories, foster a supportive community, recognize and reward effort, lead by example. So whatever ones you feel that the fam really needs to hear, go with that. So you're going to go with this first one. I know, look at students' notes and classwork. Floor is yours.
And first, before we begin, Principal Kafele, and I think as a leader, that's the beautiful thing about both you and I, and you actually just gave that example with your wife, your boo.
Yeah.
You was able to give example and you was able to attach a story to it. And that's the beautiful thing. As you go through all of these, I've already discussed a story. I've already attached a story to each and every one of these. But this one here actually sticks out at me. I want to look at the students' work and their classwork. And I used to do something that I call ghost walks. I wanted to do some ghost walks. I want to see the learning without seeing the students. And I can't wait until the state assessment. So what my teachers used to do, whether I was at the district office for those 14 schools, one of the things I wanted to do, did my observation after school. Because I can tell what type of learning that took place by the students' work. I would do ghost walks after school. Teachers, please leave your students' classwork for this particular subject on their desk. And I would just walk and I would just look at the work. I would just look at the work. I look at 25 lessons on this English piece that they were doing, comparison, contrast. Okay. Most of them got it. Oh, a lot of them didn't. That's a whole conversation I got to have that next morning with this particular teacher because I looked at their work. So that one sticks out at me, looking at students' work. When I go in to do observations, I'm speaking with students. I'm speaking with students. I hear the lesson. I know the lesson. First of all, I was there when you were planning when I planned it with you. I was there. I saw you practice it. Now I want to see you execute. And the way I see if you're executing it is by going to the students. Could you tell me the difference between comparison and contrast? What is comparison? Somebody in the group will raise their hand. They'll say, comparison is da, 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 da. And I'll say, okay, what's contrast? Then another child say, that's totally different. That's the opposite. That's comparing both of them, but it's different. And I'm like, okay, she went over the vocabulary with them. Okay, they got that. Then I go to another group and I'm going to find out what the students are doing. And those ghost walks were extremely powerful, Principal Kafele, because I was able to see the learning without seeing the lesson.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Then once I saw those students work, if I'd have still be a principal, I would go back for the 25-26 school year and I would look at that work, and then I would hang them up in my office like you just gave me an idea to do.
Yeah. And then if they have opportunity to see it, the principal, anybody in your capacity, the principal see it, it's modeling for that principal. Like I'm in central office and I got your kids work in my office. What you got in yours, right? And you don't even have to ask that question. Just when they see it, it speaks for itself.
And the final one, Kafele, as you close out, connect with students. If there's no connection, there's no correction. And that's the same thing. And that's the same thing with your adult learners in the building as well. If you don't connect, you can't correct. I remember being in one lesson with a teacher, Ms. Cohen, what's her name, and she was struggling. She had 24 students in that classroom, and 16 of them were boys. And of those 16, 12 of them played Little League football. And of course, she was talking about angles. She was doing it with math, and the boys had an issue grappling the way she was delivering the instruction. And I simply did this. And she said, Dr. Jackson, you have an idea. Help us out. And I totally transformed and turned that lesson into a football lesson using the math concepts. It was in Atlanta at the time. Julio Jones was the wide receiver. Matt Ryan was the quarterback. Harry Douglas was a wide receiver. They've been to our school before. I know those kids play Little League football. So now I'm about to talk about angles. I'm talking about measurements. I have to connect with the students to make this happen. Well, LA, those same boys saw me doing that lunch duty and said, hey, Dr. Jackson, how you doing? And I was like, man, I'm doing good today. They say, man, that was a cool lesson you did today. And I was like, man, thank you. And they were like, man, we didn't know you was a teacher, bro.
Yeah,
right. I was like, what? You didn't know? I was like, yeah, I started off as a teacher. I was a pretty good teacher. You know what those boys told me? They say, hey, bro, you need to start back teaching.
Yeah. And
I said, hold on. And I think I wrote a huge blog that went viral about the mountaintop and the valley. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do.
And that's in that blog that I actually put in the comment section. If you go find that blog, the mountaintop and the valley, that's when the birth of that literacy center came out. And that's when me as a principal, I would go by every day. On Mondays, it was the kindergarten, and I would get some of the most challenging students, and I would bring them to my office. On Tuesday, it was the first graders. On Thursday, it was the second graders. And I would do this with each grade level, and I would bring them to my office, the most challenging behavior-wise and academically struggling students. I would come get them every week and bring them to my classroom. I was making connections with the students. And this is me at the principal level. And when my teachers saw me doing that, guess what happened? They started doing it.
Yeah.
Started making that connection.
Yeah. You know, fam out there, and we wrapping up in a couple minutes. It was important to me. I'm talking to fam out there that my students, this is during my principal years and during my AP year, it was important to me that my students saw me as a teacher. Because see, they have certain stereotypes in their mind of what a principal is. And I want to defy that. I don't, you know, they think, you know, you the boss, you the disciplinarian, you know, you the top cop in the building, right? I don't want to be seen that way. I want students to see me as an educator and as a motivator. That's how I want them to see me. That this man teaches me things, that this man inspires me, makes me feel like I can fly. That's who I want it to be. I can smile with you. I can laugh with you. I don't have to be hard-nosed. And when you see me, you shaking your boots and you straighten up. I did not want to be him, right? So you got to ask yourself, can you be that teacher? That one that shows students that, no, I know some things and I can teach you some things, that you can be that motivator, but yet still be able to hold them accountable, right? Not giving up your authority as leader of the school, because there is a fine line. And I'll tell you something else, fam. There are some of us who don't recognize that line and go too far, because I see it with my own eyes, and the familiarity is now toxic. Right. So I want the familiarity, but not to the point now where you're looking at me as a peer or you're treating me as a peer. And I literally see this. I see principals being treated as peer.
Yeah.
And
first name. Your first name. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying not to go there, right? because some of them folks might be watching, right? And they know me, right? But but yeah, it's you know, but again, fam, you can show them that you're smart, that you got something up here, and engage them that way. You can also show them that you smile, right? And that you do have fun and that you can laugh. but yet maintain your authority as the principal of the building or as the AP in the building at the same time. It's all doable.
Yeah.
Right. It's all doable. You know, before we wrap it up, there was one that I wanted to hear from you. This one was for me. The one I said, that's the one where we at. Where here it is. Get students excited about the school's mission. I want to ask you this question while you respond to it. First, why is the mission important? Number one, and number two, why should students be excited about it? And then the third is the actual, how do you get students excited about it?
Well, I'm putting my principal hat on, and of course, this is discussed in the book as well. And I think last month, I actually talked about leading students to defining their purpose. And many people reached out to me, and I emailed them that activity that I think all they need to share with their teachers, and let that be a starting point. But there are a couple things that my students had to answer for me when I was a principal. And this was an assignment on the first day of school. Of course, the students went over the mission, and they annotated what the mission was. Secondly, they had to ask this question: why am I here? I wanted to get that answer. Why am I here?
Mm.
And the second piece was, what is my purpose? And that's when our kids went through that purpose piece, that little purpose exercise we actually did. And how is my purpose connected to the content? And I gave that example. Even at the district office, I still go around to schools when requested. And I want to talk to your fourth grade students. I want to talk to your fifth grade students, because our younger kids sometimes can't concept the whole mission and all that stuff. So I target the upper grades, middle school, high school. Of course, they get it as well. But some powerful things came out of that, Principal Cafele. When I asked them, why am I here? Most of them say, to learn. That's the most popular area. Learn what? And now I have to connect them to the purpose.
Yeah.
And of course, they'll give you generic answers: art, music, PE, English, language arts, science, and mathematics. They'll name those core subjects. But why are those core subjects important? Now I've walked you through finding your purpose, which actually talks about a couple of things. That exercise include, what do you like to do? What are you good at? What does the world need? And through that exercise, kids answer those questions. And now once you walk through that purpose piece, connect the career to it. Connect the career to it. And once you connect the career to it, now correct that career to a content. Give you an example. Last year, I was at Rolling Hills Elementary School, and we did this activity with a group of fourth graders. What's the mission? Let's annotate it, because they got to know the definition of those words. Now I'm giving them an English lesson by simply going through the mission. I'm teaching them annotation. Secondly, why are you here? Most of them said to learn. We went through the purpose activity, and we did the connection piece, and the fourth grade girl yells out, I get it now. I get it. And I was like, what did you get? She said, I want to be a lawyer. So now I know why in English I have to read the passage and I have to go back and I have to cite evidence. That came from a 10-year-old girl. Then they had another little boy, pops out. He's from New Orleans. He said, hey, I know how to cook. I know how to cook gumbo. I got to pay attention in science now, because I got to know the temperature of the boiling water. And then it pops out. Football. Then some kid yells out, you don't have to know nothing about football. You just play football. And another kid said, you got to know a lot about football. What? Like, man, you got to be able to score a touchdown. And that's 100 yards. That's math.
Yeah.
And so I got the little brains going. So
Yeah.
now I got the kids excited about the school's mission, and they're connecting their purpose, and they're connecting their purpose to the content. To the career, and their career to the content, which is a beautiful thing I had going on, Cafele.
No, I see. No, that's beautiful stuff. Hey, let me say this, and again, the other 7 to the fam out there, you can get them from the book. We just went over 3 of these tips in terms of we were talking about you provide the reader, I said, with these 10 tips to enable the leaders to get closer to their students. So the other 7, they're in here, right? Essential systems for school success. And you can go get that on Amazon. You get it right now, get it out the way. But also, Dr. Jackson was coming out of this book for a while, Daily Essentials for Assistant Principals, right? 10 Daily Essentials for Assistant Principals. This is a book written by him. I'm covering his name, but it's down there. You can get that on Amazon. 10 Daily Essentials for Assistant Principals, and then 10 Daily Essentials for Principals, right? So you got all 3 books. So get yourself a copy of all 3. But particularly for what we're doing, get the essential systems, but get all 3. They won't steer you. I wouldn't steer you in the wrong direction. So just get all 3 copies. These are good stuff. And then he's got other books. So you put his name in the Amazon search and everything will pop up, right? Let's see. We don't do them rapid fire with you because you've been here for a while. Hey, Doc, any parting questions for the fam?
It's not a important question, but I have a message. And it's
I meant to say, I didn't even mean to say questions. Any parting?
It's a powerful. It's just 2 words that I want to give, Kafele, because I've seen the assistant principal page filled with assistant principals not getting the principal job, or people not getting the assistant principal's job. And I want to give you 2 words. Don't stop.
There you go.
Don't stop applying. Don't stop interviewing. Don't stop pushing. Don't stop getting better. Don't stop focusing on your why. Don't stop ensuring that you are becoming a better and a stronger person. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. I've been there where you are. I had to go on 26 interviews before I got my job, and I had 1 suit and 3 dress shirts. I used to spray it with Febreze, put it in the shower, let it freshen up, and I'm going on to my next interview. Don't stop. And I landed at the school that was perfect for me.
Yeah.
Where a little black boy named Amari, I had an experience with him as assistant principal. And I was telling somebody about the story about Amari. And guess who was sitting right behind me, Principal Kafele? The creator of Sesame Street.
Oh.
And she heard me tell the story. She heard me tell the story about Amari. And she gave me a card and she said, you need to put that in the book. You need to put this in a book. And I was like, I'm not an author. I'm not an author. She said, yes, you have the story. And so I wrote that book and it became a bestseller. It was in 13 different countries. But I would have never been at that school to have that experience with Amari if I wouldn't have gotten rejected 26 times.
Yeah.
And I became an author at that point. And then I forgot about it because I got caught up in the work.
Yep.
But then this gentleman named Principal Kafele was following my post on social media because I had 8 functioning gangs in my school. You remember that, Kafele, man? I used to post all the stuff, the guns, the violence, the kids' lives changed. I used to post all that stuff. And he said, hey, bro, you need to put that in the book. Everybody needs that. Dr. Tika Kur, hey, man, you need to put that in the book. Kafele, man, I ain't got time to do all that, man. I ain't no author. It's like, man, you got the stories, you got the strategy, but most important, you got the work, you got the results.
Yeah.
And here I am sharing knowledge on my successes, but I didn't stop.
Right.
I had that mentality. Don't stop. Don't stop. So that job that you didn't get, the job you thought you were better qualified for, but you didn't get, God has you in protective custody right now. And you don't even know it. got you in protective custody and you don't even know it. So don't stop. And I'm out.
Don't stop. I mean, that's it right there. And fam, let me tell you, just in case there's somebody on here that doesn't know, I have those interview videos that I made for the assistant principalship 8 years ago. They have the first one part is 2 parts. So part 1 has 172,000 views. There are a lot of people who are administrators because they watch those videos. So those of you who are aspiring to become AP and you're not aware of them, they're on the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. But I also have the principals video, the interview video. So make sure that you go to again, AP New Principals Academy, and you'll see this separate playlist. You don't have to go through all the lives and search for it. Just go to the playlist on the channel and see it. And, it's right there. Some of y'all, I just to interrupt myself real quick. Some of y'all probably didn't know I had a brother. I got a brother and a sister. That's my brother there, Cushney Roberts. When I say brother, I don't mean like my soul brother. I mean, that's my brother, right? So, yeah, what's going on? Good to see you, my brother. So I just wanted to let y'all know that I just saw you pop up on the thread. So yeah, check those videos out if you got an interview coming. I probably don't have to tell that to anybody because everybody seems to still be watching them, right? I'm a data guy, so I check all my data, my YouTube data in this regard every day. When I get up in the morning, I check my YouTube data, among other data. I check all sorts of data because I'm an entrepreneur. You can't listen. This is me going on a different tangent, but I'm gonna say it. You can't be an entrepreneur and you don't know all of your data streams. So whether it be my book sales, whether it be my website traffic, whether it be my video traffic, and so many others, you have to know your data because you have to make informed decisions based on your data. So for me to be 65 in 4 years, I'm in 4 months, I'll be 65 in 4 months. And have been a public speaker since 1986 and has sustained myself this long, stayed relevant this long, all the way to gray hair, is because I move smart, man. You gotta, and a part of that moving smart, you gotta know your data and you gotta make decisions that are rooted in your data. That matters. But maybe I'll do a seminar one day just on that, right? But other than that, y'all, Doc, stay there while I close out, man.
All right.
As always, I appreciate y'all. And what I forgot to say earlier, those of you that do share, those of you that do like, I appreciate you. I didn't say that before. I got on my soapbox and was talking about the significance of sharing and liking. But I appreciate you for doing so. Those of you that do that, those of you that talk up the platform and let people know. And not just me, but Create and Educate. Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor. Of turnaround principal, school turnaround principal, Sean Hurt. And then on Sunday, PDP podcast, Josh Tovar and Dr. Madi Moreno. When you guys talk us up, man, and let folks know, because we ain't making no money. I mean, I get gas money. And when I say that, I'm being literal. Sometimes I say that expression, I use that as an expression, but for YouTube, I get gas money. That's what I get every month. I get enough to fill the tank up. That's it. You got to be celebrity to make that big money that your Shannon Sharps of the world are making. When you little guy like me, that's sitting up here right at the border of the living room and dining room, when I got the full screen with the books on the desk and all, I ain't making no money. They send me a check or direct deposit that's just enough to put a full tank in the SUV. That's it. So we don't do this for money. We do this because this is our lane. Remember I said that about a half hour ago? It's our lane. That's why we do this. My hope is that somebody on this platform will take what they learn or even what was reinforced on any one of these 270 sessions that I've done now, take it back to the school, and some youngsters' life chances improve and increase because of something you got on one of these 4 platforms, right? That's, and then my work is done, right? I did my job. A youngster that I will never meet It matters. So let me say to y'all, man, I appreciate you being here every week and looking forward to seeing you next week in week number 271. It's going to be solo because, you know, every first Saturday, that's solo for me, man. So we solo. This is going to be a part 2 of what I did last solo, but I changed the name a little. It's called Midsummer Self-Assessment of Your Leadership Effectiveness Over the Past School Year. Long title, but I'll probably edit it down by then. Right now, it's, you know, this is what I came up with this morning. Midsummer self-assessment is the key, right? Like, are you going to assess your performance? I'm not talking about your school improvement and all that kind of macro stuff. I mean, you, like midsummer self-assessment beyond what I talked about last first Saturday. So if you missed last first Saturday, where it was the self-reflective self-assessment of who you were in the 24-25 school year, then I want to encourage you strongly to go back to that one and watch it in its totality, right? And then this will be the pickup from there. It won't be a repeat. Now we got more for you, but this is midsummer. So midsummer self-assessment of who you were last school year. And then in August, we're going to talk about what you need to be doing moving forward into that new year. So that's how I'm kind of conducting my 3 summer months. So tune in to me. Also, I need to keep saying the monologue, man. The monologue is another critical aspect of this platform. So I think that a lot of you know now, I actually extract it, I edit it out and make it a separate reel every Saturday. Like when I go off today, that's what I'll be doing when I'm sitting here, making it a separate reel, reposting it on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And so I want y'all to pay attention to them reels. Those monologues as well. If you came on late, don't just watch what you see when you come on. Go back to the beginning. Check out the monologue. Check out how we started. Check out what you missed. It's all PD, man, and it's all good stuff. I can give it that stamp of approval. It's all good stuff. So with that being said, y'all, I have a flight this afternoon. I'm on my way to San Antonio to ASCD. I hope that there's somebody out here right now that will be at my pre-conference session tomorrow. I'm doing a session on the topic, maximizing your administrative leadership team toward creating a culture of instructional leadership effectiveness. So that'll be 8 o'clock till 1 Central Time tomorrow at San Antonio at the ASCD conference. Then on Monday, I'll be doing a session, what is your value instructionally, to the teachers you supervise. And then I'll do a book signing, and they're going to have all my books there. So we'll be doing that. That's right, Texas time, Josh. So that'll be ASCD. If you're interested in my summer public schedule and my conference schedule, I read the whole thing this morning. So just go back to the beginning. And if I'm coming to a city near you, or if I'm going to be in a conference that you're going to be at, come join me, right? So I got about 10 of them that I'm doing over the summer that are public that you can attend, right? As opposed to the private PD that I do in schools and districts, which you cannot attend unless it's your school or district. Make sure that every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, Sean Hurt, the Turnaround Principal, Facebook Live, followed by Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor. That's at 10:30, followed by myself at 10:55, and then PDP Podcast with Josh Tovar and Dr. Marty Moreno on Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, right? Sometimes it's hard for me to catch that one because of my crazy schedule, but I'm gonna try my best tomorrow. No, I'll probably miss it tomorrow, but we'll catch the rewind. But make sure that you tune in. Real quick, y'all. Real quick. Got to show you something. Here we go. Bam. Let me move over. If you don't have a copy, get yourself a copy, right? And you go to Amazon right now and get yourself a copy. The volume of school districts that are buying them in bulk for the entire administrative team is just nothing short of amazing, right? It's just a blessing to walk into these schools, these conferences, and you see my book on every table, every participant, or these little bags that they give them, those swag bags, and there's the book sitting in the bag. So if you don't have your copy yet, get your copy. And I promise you, well, I shouldn't make promises, but I think I can promise you that you'll find the book to be rewarding. I don't think it'll be a waste of your time. So get yourself a copy. And then subscribe to the AP New Principals Academy YouTube channel. That's important. Subscribe and hit the notification bell once you subscribe. We have 24,000 subscribers. That is huge. I am blessed. I'm honored. I'm grateful. So make sure that you subscribe to it. Join me July 15 and 16 in Raleigh. 2 days to the School Leadership Academy, which we're calling the Instructional Leadership Academy this year. Go to principalcafele.com, scroll down to where you see it on the homepage, click that link where it says here, and then register there. And hopefully I'll see you there, and you get a free copy of What Is My Value to the Teachers I Supervise, right? So that's that. And then lastly, your diet. Make sure you're eating right, your exercise. Make sure you're getting that work in, particularly that cardio work. And then your virus precautions, whatever it is you got to do, because it's sick out here, and I'm hearing some weird stuff coming out of DC as far as the Health and Human Services Secretary. But I'll leave that right there. But I'm hearing some really weird stuff coming out about vaccines and viruses and so forth. So you go with what makes the best common sense for you, but make sure you're taking care of you, because if you ain't right, then you're not available. And they say the best ability is availability, right? And if you're not available, then your student's going to have to be led by somebody else, right? So with that said, y'all, you have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I see y'all next Saturday, man. Make it amazing. An amazing week.